You guys pumped? Awesome. Well, congratulations. I know this has been a rough year for you guys. Incredible, emotional roller coaster for you, and I know that these past couple of months too have been really tough on all of y'all. And that this is just, you feel robbed, you feel like you're missing out on something, and I know what that feels like. But I'm going to tell you what, I was praying this morning, and God was speaking to me, and He was telling me that there's some voices that are going to be rising up in the future that are going to be very influential voices, and they're going to be from the class of 2020. Because this hard time that you're going through right now will be what is rooted inside of a voice of confidence. It's going to be rooted from the times that you're going through right now. And any one of you could be one of those voices, but you have to seek God with everything in you. Because right now, you're not going to have what it takes to be that voice. But God has everything that you need to become the person He's calling you to be. All right? So I just want to say, be excited, because you guys are part of history, and your voices are going to mean a lot to people in the future of the stuff that you've been through this last year. But I'm going to put you on the spot, so don't relax just yet. I want an answer from each one of you guys on this one question. But when you look at the world today, what do you see? When you look at the world around you, what do you see? You got an idea? You don't see anything? Just give me anything. First thing you think of. Confusion. Thanks, Abel. What up? Anarchy. Then what you got? Disappointment. See, and all three of those things are great answers. I mean, there's all kinds of negativity. And me, of all people, I don't need to remind you of the craziness going on in this world. What I do need to remind you of is that you can do something about it. You can't change the whole world by yourself, but you can change and make a difference in each person's life that God brings across your path. And you got to remember that. And even when you're not trying to make a difference, you are making a difference, whether it be positive or negative, in people's lives around you. You're always being watched. People are always listening to your words. Doesn't mean that they're going to take your opinion, but it's something important that you know from this day forward. Excuse me. You know, it makes me think about my father-in-law's memorial last week and how there was hundreds of people that came here. And I'll be honest, it wasn't because he was the greatest Christian in the world. It wasn't because he was this great businessman. It wasn't because he went to this church. There are two major reasons why so many people, I believe, came to honor him. And that was because he cared about people and he was genuine. And that's something really important for you guys to learn, because at your age, it's very easy. And well, really at any age, but especially at your age, because it's very common to try to make something of yourself that's not genuine. And it's not real, and feel like you need to prove yourself. And there's no need. The more you can be genuine within yourself, the more God can do with your life. And it's important for you to realize that. And it's also important to realize that without being genuine and caring about people, it's impossible to be like Jesus. You know, and what's life about? You ever thought about that? What's life about? Who is the life? Jesus, right? I'm the way, the truth, and the life. And the more we can follow Jesus, the more He will make it your life. So remember that. So where's your heart at? This is a question that is just so pivotal that if you don't have someone asking in your life, where's your heart at? It's important for everybody in this room to ask, where's your heart at? And for you at your age, this is one of those times where it seems like everyone is putting the focus of life on you. Your life, your future, your dreams and aspirations. And it's no wonder why most of our college students don't go to church anymore. Because we're all guilty of this. We're all making you focus on yourself. We're all guilty of this. When what we should be doing for you is encouraging you and saying, what is God saying for you to do in your future? It's okay to have dreams. It's okay to have aspirations. It's good to have a plan. But it's more important that you reflect to God and say, what is it that you desire in my life? What is it that you want for me to do? Because God will always outdream your dreams. He dreamt your future before he made you in your mom's womb. He did. And you'll never accomplish what you were made for until you seek after him with all of your heart and allow him to make changes within yourself. I'm going to tell you from experience, the sooner you can do that, the easier it will be. You can ask anybody in this room to try to seek after God after they did their own thing and try to come back and seek God. You've got a lot of garbage to deal with. Don't get me wrong. When I was a senior, I still had a lot of garbage to deal with, but I kept compiling the garbage in my life. So this is a great time when you are, a lot of the time, you're changing your environment. Right now, you get to choose who you surround in your life because you're not forced to be around the same people every day. You have the power to decide who you involve inside of your life culture. Do you want to make it about yourself? Do you want to make it about people? Do you want to make it about Jesus? So keep those things in mind. Success is in the heart. And I know right now your career, it seems like it's the most important decision you have to make, but it's not. And I want you to remember these words. What you do for your relationship with Christ each day is the most important decision you make. Forever. Doesn't matter what job you're going to have. Doesn't matter what bills need to get paid. What matters is what are you doing for your relationship with Christ today. Because otherwise you'll lay down some days and you'll be like, it's just another day. And every day will feel the same. Because in your heart, you're not growing. You're not going anywhere. And that's exactly what would happen if you chased after your dreams without God. At best, you would meet your dreams, but it wouldn't feel like your dreams. Because inside you know it wasn't what you were created for. So today, I've got a short lesson for you guys. Obviously, it's never been more obvious that we're living in the last days. Jesus' followers asked him about the last days, and Jesus taught them about what the times would look like, and he gave stories about what the kingdom of heaven would look like. Now, this is something important to remember, too, because Jesus talked about the kingdom of heaven, and he said the kingdom of heaven is in our midst, right? The kingdom is here. And then he would give examples. He'd say the kingdom of heaven is like this, the kingdom of heaven is like that. And what he was teaching was, we have access to the kingdom of heaven, but we manifest the kingdom of heaven by our obedience. We have to live kingdom to experience the kingdom, to experience the benefits of these, you getting a blessing from the church, to experience the blessings of God. Excuse me, help me, Lord. You have an ability to manifest kingdom by obeying God on what you should do with what you've been given to steward. And that's part of what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to read in Matthew 25. I'm going to read just a few verses of the parable of talents. I love this parable, but God kind of gave me a little different lesson for you guys than what I normally teach from this. So Matthew 25, we're just going to read the first 5 verses, verses 14 through 18. Matthew 25, starting with verse 14. For it would be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted them his property. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to each according to his ability. Then he went away. He who had received 5 talents went at once and traded with them, and he made 5 talents more. So also he who had the 2 talents made 2 talents more. But he who had received the 1 talent went and dug in the ground and hid his master's money. All right, this story goes on. The master comes back. And the one with 5, the one with 5 doubled, the one with 2 doubled, and the one that was only given 1, he hid his. And he blames it on being afraid of his master. Okay? And the master says, "You wicked and slothful, or you lazy servant." And he casts him into outer darkness, which is not really where you want to go. You haven't figured that out. But there's something really critical for you to realize in this story. 3 things I want to talk about. The first one is ability. It says at the very beginning of this, Jesus said, each man was given according to his ability. God gives to you according to your ability. He gives you character traits. He gives you skills. He blesses you with things according to your ability. 1 Corinthians 10:13 says, no temptation has overtaken you that is not common to man. God is faithful, and he will not let you be tempted beyond your ability. But with temptation, he will provide the way of escape, that you may be able to endure it. See, when these servants were given these talents, they could have done whatever they wanted to it. He went away for an unforeseen amount of time. There's a lot of temptations or things that they could have done with them. The point is, 2 of them were wise with what they were given, and 1 wasn't. Number 2, perspective. You know, when I read this story, you've got to kind of, for perspective in the Bible, you got to put yourself in their shoes. And you got to think, okay, how do you think the guy with the 2 and the 1 felt with the guy who got 5? I mean, he got more than double the next guy with the most. And, you know, we look at each other, you know, and especially when you get going to college and talking to people about their futures, you get comparing your lives very easily. And that goes on into adulthood, I promise you. You know, people always comparing themselves to each other. But you've got to realize, to whom much is given, much is required. That was stated in Luke. You know, we can be jealous of what God has blessed other people with, or we can realize those people that are blessed with much are required of much by God. God has blessed me with many talents and many things, but I'll be honest, he requires a lot of me. It's very overwhelming at times. I'm in positions all the time that I have no clue what to do, and just have to make extremely difficult decisions often. And it's very uncomfortable, but it's where God has me, because I'm seeking after him, and he's still working in my heart the character that he wants me to have. I'm not there yet. I haven't accomplished to be who Ben Healy is supposed to be, according to my Father in heaven. That's what I'm pressing towards. But man, there's some hard things involved, and the more I'm faithful with the little things, he gives me more and more and more. And honestly, there's a lot of times where I'm like, God, I don't want any more, because it's overwhelming. I mean, that guy that had 5 talents, he had a lot more that he was responsible for stewarding. Each one of you are responsible for stewarding this check from the church. You're responsible to steward that and decide, am I going to tithe? Am I going to spend this on myself? Am I going to use it for school? Am I going to use it for something that I think I'll need? Am I going to use it for somebody else? How am I going to steward what God has given me? But it's not just physical things like money. It's your character. Harmon, how am I going to steward the brain and the intellect that you've given me? Miriam, how can I steward this heart that you've given me? And Abel, how am I going to steward this leadership and this stubbornness to get done what I want accomplished? How do I steward these things that are gifts from you, that you planned inside of me for people? How did you create this for your creation? Not for me, but for you. How did you make me for you to operate? Does that make sense? It's a mindset, it's a perception of world, and not my world, but God, this is your world, your creation. I am yours. How do I do this? How do I invest this? You know, what should I say? You know, be slow to speak, guard your tongue. Reflect God for every decision you make. Every person that you surround yourself in your life from this day forward, reflect to God and say, God, is this someone that I need to have in my life? Because whether you like it or not, the people you surround yourself with influence something inside of you and will affect the decisions you make. But they don't have to deal with the consequences of your decisions. You do. And number 3, laziness. The last servant was given 1 talent, and that was, once again, according to the ability he had. The master wouldn't have given him 1 talent the master knew he wasn't capable of doing something with it. And even in the story, it says, like, the master was like, you could have just put it in a bank and invested it and at least made some interest on this. And what's interesting about the story is that that man, he said, I was afraid, and you're a harsh man. He blames things on the master. But what's interesting about it is, I want you guys to read this story, because what's interesting about this is the master, he doesn't take fear as an excuse. He doesn't take fear as an excuse. He says, you're wicked and you're lazy because you could have done something, because I knew you were capable, or I would not have given you what I've given you. And each one of you have very unique giftings, and you know it. You know it. You've got to do something. And that's what it comes down to, guys. I mean, you're wondering what this story has anything to do with graduation. It has everything to do with it. Because this parable is all about, what are you doing with what God has given you? That's what it comes down to. That's what it's all about. What are you doing with what God has given you? God didn't give you life so you could waste it on yourself. He gave you a life to impact this world and to shape this world and to make a difference and to change thousands of people apiece. Like, your minds honestly probably can't even comprehend that right now. Like, how am I going to affect tens of thousands of people in my lifetime? But God can do it. God can do it. And He wants to use you.
Amen.
If you're not living for God and making a difference in other people's lives, what's the point? I just kind of feel like there's a lot of things that I wrote in my notes that I don't feel like I'm supposed to go over. But Pastor Donnie mentioned 2 Timothy 1:7, that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power, of love, and self-discipline. And when he said that, it reminded me, in the verse before that, in verse 6, it says, fanning to flame the gift of God that is in you, through the laying on of hands. So your gifts, the gift that he's talking about, fanning to flame, is the Holy Ghost. The Holy Ghost is the one who takes your gifts that you have now and makes them radical. Makes them something inside of you that does miraculous things and doesn't just affect other people, it changes people. You know, Peter in the Bible, he lived with Jesus. He gave up his life to follow Jesus and pursue him, and he loved Jesus. When Jesus died, he went back to fishing. And then when Jesus came back, they were best friends again. And when Jesus rose again, he's not really doing a whole lot for the kingdom. But when he was in the upper room and the Holy Ghost came, because he was obeying God, everything changed. His whole life revolved around the gospel, around showing other people Christ, because something inside of him changed. A switch went off. And we can't wait for that little switch to go off one day where we're like, oh, okay, we know what we're doing with our lives. We know what we're supposed to do. We got to pursue the things of God and be obedient to Him. Be honest within ourselves. Not lie to ourselves of who we want to be or who we think we are. But say, God, what's wrong within my heart? Reveal to me the deceit and the lies inside of myself and help me to heal my heart. To heal the wounds from my parents. To heal the wounds from my friends that betrayed me. To heal my wounds from my past relationships that didn't work out, so that I can walk boldly and confidently before God, where my heart doesn't condemn itself. And so the Bible talks about, if our hearts don't condemn ourselves, we can ask God, and He'll give us anything we ask. Because we walk in purity, we walk in holiness, and we walk in this genuineness, like my father-in-law walked in. That's what the world needs to see. They don't need to see 3 more graduates. They need to see 3 more people that look like Jesus. Amen. So I want to pray for you guys, because I believe so many people, we know the story of Saul. We talked about Saul getting blinded, talking to Jesus. He's blind for 3 days. And a lot of the time, we leave out the part about Ananias, who was the man that Saul came and met. Ananias was afraid to even meet him there because he knew that Saul was just like pro-kill Christians, which might be, I mean, honestly, it's just crazy things going on in the world right now. It makes me think about. But I believe God has sent me inside of your lives as an Ananias, because in Acts 9, Ananias went to Saul and he said, brother, I've been sent to you so that you may regain your sight and be filled with the Holy Spirit.